evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Historic Preservation Commission meeting of January 25th, 2023, our first meeting of the new year. Thank you for your presence. And I'd like to ask if we could all please stand and together recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And for our roll call this evening, we will each introduce ourselves. I am Jenny Steinhagen.
Ladislav Castellanos.
Joshua Gaccione.
Super, thank you. Tonight we have one item on our agenda, and that is a public meeting regarding 101 Main Street, otherwise known as the Washington Hotel, to determine if a recommendation shall be made to the Village Board of Trustees to designate said property as a local landmark. To remind everyone where we are and how we got here, on November 15th of 2022, the building department here in Tuckahoe received a completed landmark application for 101 Main Street, suggesting that it would qualify for a number of criteria to be considered as a local landmark. That then prompted at the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission meeting on November 17th, the opening of a public meeting to discuss the Washington Hotel at 101 Main Street as a possible landmark. And we heard from a number of people from the public regarding the nomination. We spoke here on the commission quite a bit about the historical and architectural significance, the role that the structure has played in the social and economic development of our village. We kept the meeting open into December, and at our December 15th meeting, not only did we have our Eastchester town historian confirm additional historical and architectural details regarding the significance of the building, but we were fortunate to have the owner of the building speak a little bit about his relationship to the village and the Washington Hotel, the gorgeous building at 101 Main Street. Tonight, the public meeting is still open. So if there is anyone else with anything to add to the discussion, the public meeting regarding 101 Main Street, now is the time. We have quite a bit of information, and it sounds like there may be agreement to that. Without anything further to add to the discussion at this point, the commission has the ability to close our public meeting and then move forward with a vote, because the commission can make recommendations to the Board of Trustees that they then open up a public hearing and vote on making anything we recommend to them as a local landmark. So, do I have a motion from the commission to close the public meeting, the public discussion on 101 Main Street?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. That unanimously passes. So the public meeting is closed, and in consideration of everything that has been brought to light about the incredible value of the Washington Hotel, I believe we can move forward with that next official step that we take for a resolution. Josh, I believe you have a resolution ready for us.
As it so happens, I do have a resolution ready for us. A resolution to recommend and designate the designation of property at 101 Main Street, Tuckahoe, New York, 10707, aka the Washington Hotel. We, the duly appointed members of the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission, do this 25th day of January 2023 adopt the following resolution. Whereas set forth in the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation legislation, the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission may recommend landmarks and districts of historic and cultural significance for the designation by the Tuckahoe Board of Trustees. And whereas the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission received and accepted a completed landmark nomination for 101 Main Street, filed on 15 November 2022, and announced the opening of a public meeting for review and discussion of the nomination at its meeting on November 17th, 2022. And whereas a public meeting on the potential designation of 101 Main Street was held on December 15th, 2022, and on January 25th, 2023, at Tuckahoe Village Hall. And whereas the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation legislation provides the following criteria to qualify the recommendation of the designation of an individual property if it: A, possesses special character or aesthetic value as part of the culture, architectural, social, or economic history of the village, or B, is identified with persons or events significant in the local, state, or national history, or C, is the birthplace or grave of a historical figure of outstanding importance, or D, embodies the distinguishing characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction or design style, or is a valuable example of the use of indigenous materials or craftsmanship, or E, is a representative of the work of a designer, architect, or builder, or F, represents an established and familiar visual feature of the community by virtue of its unique location or singular physical characteristic, or G, has yielded or may be likely to yield information important to the study of the prehistory or history of the region, state, or nation. Whereas the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission has made the following findings of fact concerning the proposed designation. The property located at 101 Main Street is an architecturally significant Tuckahoe structure that embodies distinctive characteristics of a type, period, and method of construction. The foundation and facade of the Washington Hotel consist of blocks of marble that were excavated from Tuckahoe's once thriving marble quarries that operated for approximately 100 years, from the 1820s to 1930. These same quarries also provided marble to many historical significant structures of the 19th century, including Federal Hall, St. Patrick's Cathedral, and the Washington Square Arch in New York City, the Washington Monument in the United States Capitol Building in Washington, D.C., the Vanderbilt Marble House Mansion in Newport, Rhode Island, designed by renowned architect Richard Morris Hunt, as well as the Immaculate Conception Church and Masonic Temple in Tuckahoe. The Washington Hotel, because of its direct relationship to the Tuckahoe marble industry, has played a pivotal role in the cultural, social, and economic history of Tuckahoe. The Washington Hotel was built in 1883 for Samuel Fee, a superintendent of the Eastchester Marble Quarry Company, who was an effective intermediary between the workers and the owners of Tuckahoe's marble quarries, and who participated in economic bargaining and negotiations. The Washington Hotel functioned as a meeting hall and community center and provided lodging for members of the Journeyman Stonecutters Union, which had a branch in Tuckahoe going back to April of 1839. The Washington Hotel served as a social center not just for members of the quarry industry, many of whom lived in and raised their families in Tuckahoe, but also years later for the village of Tuckahoe, who used the large meeting rooms at 101 Main Street to accommodate large groups. The Washington Hotel represents the industry that brought growth to the immediate area and played an important role in shaping the development of Tuckahoe. The hotel at 101 Main Street strongly meets the following criteria. Criteria A, possesses special character or aesthetic value as part of the cultural, architectural, social, or economic history of the village. Criteria B, is identified with persons or events significant in local, state, or national history. Criteria D, embodies the distinguishing characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction or design, or is a valuable example of the use of indigenous materials or craftsmanship. And finally, criteria F, represents an established and familiar visual feature of the community by virtue of its unique location or singular physical characteristic.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That serves as our motion. Do we have a second in support of the resolution?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye. The resolution unanimously passes, meaning that the Washington Hotel will next be forwarded to the Tuckahoe Village Board of Trustees for their consideration via a public hearing and a potential vote to make this a local landmark here in Tuckahoe. I think congratulations are in order to consider what a treasure this building is to our village, and in acknowledgement of the incredible shape that the building is in right now, thanks to the care given to it by its current owner, who spoke at last month's meeting, and who we would again like to acknowledge and thank. We now have the opportunity for discussion if there is anything else for tonight's meeting or miscellaneous business. So I told a joke at the December meeting about Washington's armies being kept in his sleeveys, which I thought was hysterical. And I got to thinking, you know, what would a George Washington, what would someone of his time period have thought about my funny joke? So I started to wonder, you know, what type of sense of humor might they have had back then, right? Would someone in Washington's army have a sense of humor? And of course, it hit me. In George Washington's army, the guy, of course, with the best sense of humor would be none other than Major General, the Marquis de Lafayette. The Marquis de Lafayette. And Lafayette. I think he would have thought both of those jokes were funny. I can't guarantee it, but I think so. So I'm done on that note. So if there's anything else for tonight's meeting, absolutely anything. If there's not, I believe the February meeting will be a pretty exciting one. There are announcements forthcoming regarding the Historic Preservation Commission. We've mentioned a number of times that we are expanding the membership of the commission from 3 to 5. So please stay tuned for the announcement of 2 new members to the commission. That will be soon, so to be continued. If nothing else besides that, I believe we are adjourned. Thank you very much.